So another major, news that came in the month of May was the inclusive digital access and Article 21. So the relevance of Article 21 and its role in promoting inclusive digital access, and it's actually based on an order by the Supreme Court of India. Okay, let's see more about it. So, in a recent judgment, okay, Amar Jain versus the Union of India and others, the Supreme Court ruled that ensuring inclusive and meaningful digital access to e-governance and welfare services is an integral part of the fundamental right to life and liberty. Very important. So, two things are discussed here: ensuring the inclusive and meaningful digital access. Inclusive and meaningful digital access. Inclusive means we should be able to include everyone. Okay. Then meaningful digital access to e-governance and welfare services. So basically, we are talking about the digital presence. Okay. The e-governance and welfare services should be access to everyone. And that is an integral part of our right to life and liberty, which is enshrined in Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. The Supreme Court directed the government to revise digital KYC, know your customer. KYC means know your customer rules to ensure accessibility for persons with disabilities, including those with facial disfiguration due to acid attacks and visual impairment. Okay, so proper consideration should be given for people with facial disfiguration, basically due to the acid attacks and the visual impairment. Okay, so what is actually the objective of this? Ensuring the accessibility for everyone. Okay, the digital presence should be accessed for everyone. So that is what is mentioned here. The Supreme Court directed this to the government, and how they are actually directing it to revise the digital KYC rules. Okay, citing the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016, it issued 20 directives for inclusive e-KYC. So understand the important points from Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016, and based on this act only, the Supreme Court issued 20 directives for inclusive e-KYC, know your customer. The court invoked substantive equality and held that digital access is part of Article 21's right to life and liberty. So they are emphasizing on one particular article in our constitution, that is Article 21 of the Indian Constitution, which is actually coming under right to freedom. Okay, right to life and liberty. Okay, right to life and liberty, which is a part of the fundamental right also. It affirmed the state's duty under Articles 14, 15, 21, and 38 to ensure inclusive digital infrastructure for marginalized groups. So, accessibility is important, inclusivity is important. So, they have actually quoted four important articles from the Indian Constitution: Article 14, Article 15, Article 21, and Article 38. So, which means they have included articles from fundamental rights and also from directive principles of state policy. Here, Article 14 and Article 15 is coming from the right to equality section, and Article 21 coming from right to freedom section, and Article 38 coming from the directive principles of state policy. Now, let us see what are these articles. Okay, what is the focus of these articles? Let us try to understand. Article 21, the right to digital access, is actually a very integral component of the right to life and personal liberty. So, what is there in Article 21? Right to a dignified life. Right to life and personal liberty. It also includes right to a dignified life. And not only that, there are many interpretations for that. In our courts, in our Supreme Court, we have actually given many interpretations for Article 21. It includes many rights. Okay, many rights. So it is already, we have taken a very broad session on this particular article, that is Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. You can refer that. It is there in our application and also in the YouTube. Then Article 14, it is exclusively talking about the right to equality. Article 15, it is talking about the right against discrimination, and Article 30, it talks about directs the state to promote social justice. Okay, it directs the state to promote social justice, which is a part of the directive principles of state policy. So these four articles were clearly mentioned by the Supreme Court to ensure that accessibility should be there in the digital presence for everyone. Now, let us also try to understand what is the, the advantage of such kind of accessibility or inclusivity in the digital presence. Let's try to understand that. One, the access to essential government schemes. Okay, we are getting more access to government schemes to avail welfare benefits, subsidies, pensions, health schemes, and other services without physical barriers. Because nowadays everything is actually, digital in nature. So without getting that accessibility, no, you won't be able to get the justice from the government or from the state, because it should be for everyone. It should be focused on inclusivity, or inclusive growth is actually important. So for that, this accessibility is needed. Then comes the reduction of rural urban digital divide. Reduction of the rural urban digital divide, which is actually present in our country. Basically, in the urban areas, more accessibility is there, but in terms of the rural areas, no, they lack certain features. So by mandating accessibility, the judgment pushes the government to strengthen inclusive digital systems across regions, ensuring people in remote or rural areas are not left behind. So everybody who are from the remote areas of our country should also get that accessibility. Now, access to online learning and skill platforms. Basically, nowadays, lot of online education or skill development is actually present in our country, and people should get that access. The inclusive digital systems enable students and learners with disabilities to participate in online education, vocational training, skill building platforms, bridging gaps in education. So basically, it aims bridging the gap in the education sector, which can actually, the digital, going digital means you can access and you can reach everywhere, but providing that infrastructure is really important, and that should be the responsibility of the government, and it is the responsibility of the government to ensure that it reaches everyone. Okay, then financial inclusion through digital banking and fintech. Accessible KYC norms allow persons with disabilities to open bank accounts, access loans, UPI, insurance, fintech services, promoting economic independence. So economic independence is very important, and for that, now digital features or digital technology is important, and that is relevant. Then empowerment of the marginalized communities. Inclusive digital access gives voice, visibility, and equal participation to people often excluded, making development truly participatory and democratic. So basically, when it is more digital in nature, then more people will get an opportunity to be a part of this process. So then we can actually say that it's a truly democratic in nature. Okay, so that is what you need to understand from this. So empowerment of the marginalized communities, or the excluded communities, all those people can be a part of this, and that is the responsibility of the government. Ensuring that should be the responsibility of the government. Then strengthening the social justice. By ensuring digital access as a right, the court reinforces the constitutional promises of equality, dignity, non-discrimination, and transforming welfare delivery into the rights-based approach. Very important. So there are certain key philosophies or key objectives of our constitution, and those philosophies or those objectives can be achieved if we can actually provide them with accessibility to the digital features or the digital technology. So it will also improve the social justice, or it will also strengthen the social justice in our country. So you can actually see that the promises of equality, dignity, non-discrimination, and transforming the welfare delivery, all these things is possible if you are coming up with more accessibility for everyone in the digital technology.